Hello everyone, good morning. My name is Devansh and I'm from the sales team. And I've also got Mr. Vimal Pal, who is the cloud solution architect at Cloud.n. So let's get started. Thank you for joining today's session on a Friday morning. So the session will be on the right cloud storage for every need, from websites to databases. So in this webinar, we'll explore how to choose the right cloud storage for websites or databases. So let's drive straight into the session. So before starting the session, I would like to mention a few points. All attendees are muted by default and cannot be unmuted during the session. So if you have any questions at all, you can just put it in the chat box and we'll take it over after the session, okay? Let's make the session a little bit interactive. Put in all of your questions and we'll answer after the session. So we will also have a question and answer session at the end of the webinar. If in case if you have any questions between the session, you can raise your hand or you can just drop in the questions on the question box. Okay. All right, so what I'll do is I'll just take you over the company profile that we have. I will tell you all of the things that we do at Cloud.n, and later on Vimal will take over and start the session about the right cloud storage. Okay. So at Cloud.n, we are a 26-year-old company. So our parent company is called Host India, Hosting Services Private Limited, and Cloud.in falls under that umbrella. So we have under Cloud.in we have 24/7 knock and SOC support. We have managed 40,000 plus domains until date because we have another company under hosting services which is called hostindia.net, under which we also help our customers register new domains and we manage the domains as well. So we have about 100 plus cloud certifications, 200 plus live workloads, 10,000 plus managed cloud resources. We serve our customers pan India, and we are also planning to expand beyond India at this moment. Our headquarters is in Pune. We also have offices in Mumbai, Bangalore, and we recently got a new office in Delaware. Yeah, so this is how our journey looks throughout the years. We started off as a digital ad and online servicing portal. In 2015, we got a major milestone as we got our partnership with AWS. So in 2016, we launched the brand called Cloud.n. So after 2016, we have also achieved a lot of service deliveries and core competencies from AWS, which we'll see in the upcoming slides. Yeah, so this is how our tech partnerships look like. We are quite an established company, and we have an overall solution, like a one-stop solution, so you don't have to go to any other partner for the things you're looking for. So for cloud partnerships, we've got AWS. For security partnerships, we've got Checkpoint, F5, Fortinet. For data protection, we've got Druva, and we recently introduced Commvault to our system. For observability, we have got New Relic. For data streaming, for streaming in the real time, for faster insights, we've got Confluent. For cloud infrastructure, build strong and flexible cloud infrastructure, we've got VMware. Yeah, so this is how our core competencies look like from AWS. We recently got the GenAI services competency, which limited partners have in the ecosystem of AWS. We also have migration and modernization competency. We are good into the small and medium businesses. That's why we've got the small and medium business competency. Also, we are good into the public sector. That's why we've got the education services, because we have transformed a lot of educational institutions. Also, we are an advanced tier consultation partner with AWS. Yeah, so these are the services that we offer at Cloud.in. by implementation and migration services. What we mean is we migrate workloads from on-premise to AWS or from other hyperscalers like Microsoft or Google to AWS. We not only are into reselling, but we are into implementing as well. We have our own managed services, so if you have any workloads that needs to be monitored, that can be done 24/7 at cloud.in. We are also into consulting and advisory, reselling and billing, as in what we can do is we can route your billing through cloud.in, from which you can get a lot of benefits which can be discussed after the webinar. Also, we provide GenAI services, into which we are big into health bots, educational bots, and customer service bots as well. CDN and edge services are one of our strong points. Uh, yep, so cost optimization and resource augmentation, that is what we do as well. Uh, in terms of industry verticals, we are big into media and entertainment, e-commerce, IT, public sector. So I will stress upon the media and entertainment section, as it is one of our most strong point. Media and entertainment, as in we have helped a lot of media companies in India to get their edge locations set up. Yeah, actually that comes under the retail sector as well. We have done the same for retail websites and applications. Yeah, so we are not just into services. We've built our own products as well, which are called CloudFront Version Vault, Evalix, and Rudra Sentinel. For CloudFront Version Vault, what it does, it centralizes, tracks, and manages distribution configurations for easy versioning, comparison, and rollbacks. So these are the features which are not inherently present in CloudFront. This is what we've built on top of CloudFront, which makes it much better, and it compares with the competition in the market. Evalix.ai, it is a smart platform for creating, managing, and securing fast, flexible, and AI-driven assessments. This is a tool which can be used by educational institutes as well as corporates for the training. Rudra Sentinel, it is a single platform that helps security teams monitor systems, detect threats, and fix vulnerability quickly. All right, so now we are at the start of our session. So I would like to hand over the mic to Mr. Vimal Pal. He's a senior solution architect at Cloud.in. Over to you, Vimal.
Well, thanks, Devansh, for your warm introduction about the company, right? And so far we've seen that how Cloud.in journey has been from last 26 years, and we also looked at the way the Cloud.in, getting all the expertise in terms of technologies coming, or the immersive technologies which are coming in terms of like generative AI and ML space. All right. So let's just dive on the agenda for today. Since the topic is based on the AWS storage, how smartly we can manage AWS storage. All right. And so why are we talking today about the storage management, right? And storage is something which is, if whenever any company or any enterprise look for hosting its IT workload onto any cloud, right? So storage is something, and the database is something which is the talk of the town, and it has to be discussed and procured in a way so that we are meeting all the requirement in terms of data storage and the optimization, right? And the one more point why data is being discussed in a very frequent and very in length. The reason being, today, if you look at the technology, how technology is being changed, so there's a very large or tremendous amount of data is being generated, right? If you look at, I mean, around you, Be it any social media platform or any AI ML. So we all know that how ChatGPT has evolved or OpenAI has evolved the decision making, right? So the millions of data is being transacted, every single second, right? And we are at a verge of where the data, data as an information is very crucial for any decision making for any company or any business, right? But as the data grows exponentially, it has to be managed well. It has to be taken into the databases or in the places so that the cost is optimized, right? And it is available. It should be available when it is requested by any user or any application, right? And at the same time, we need to have certain set of criteria where we are providing the better tierage option for storing the data. So definitely all those points we will look today in our slides, right? And we will also discuss about the core three AWS storage pillars, right? So definitely we have segmented this presentation in terms of like pillars, so that we can just limit our scope of discussion today. And we'll also look at the key decision factors when you are hosting any application, and you are actually deciding, right, which database to be considered in AWS. And as AWS S3, you must be aware that AWS S3 is object storage in AWS cloud. So we will also see AWS Amazon S3 service in length. So what all sort of advantages and the features it provides, right? And we will also look at the how this S3 can be utilized as a static for the static website hosting. And again, so if we talk about the persistent volume, so there is a one more service which is EBS, Elastic Block Storage. So we will also see that in detail in today's webinar, right? And also the EBS and RDS use cases. And Amazon EFS, that's Elastic File System. So we are gonna see that also in detail and what use cases it can be leveraged. And we will also compare all these three services mainly, and what are the requirement and what protocol all these storage services offer, right? And what is a hybrid approach we can take as per our use case. And then we will see the takeaways and call to action. And this presentation then finally be followed by the Q&A session, right? So this is the agenda in length for today. So let's directly jump into our first slide, right? So why choose AWS storage, right? So if you just break this down, why choose AWS storage? So there are two things, right? The one is storage, and if you're considering storage, then why AWS, right? So storage, you might aware, if you compare any cloud versus the on-premises storage, the solution, right? How do you used to manage storage on your on-premises hardware, right? And you used to have like proper disk attached with your application, your server, or maybe if the multiple servers are connected with any particular server, which is basically a file server, and then you used to have maybe a NAS box, right? So so if you look at all those points where you are storing your data on-premises server, there is definitely all those protocol, right? Like be it a network protocol, or maybe you are accessing any data with the help of an operating system. So all those options we will see in AWS cloud and what benefit it can provide, right? Since AWS, if we talk about the AWS credentials, so AWS has been the market leader in the cloud space for like, from the starting or from the day of its inception, right? So that is a testimony that simply tells how AWS has advanced its offering in terms of cloud storage or maybe the other applications. So it offers a comprehensive portfolio designed for every workload requirement, right? So AWS basically, if you look at the portfolio, the offerings of AWS, so you will see any requirement in terms of storage. AWS has the number of services, number of offerings, right? There are a lot of features it would provide in terms of scalability, in terms of availability, reliability, and the cost benefit, right? So if we talk about the AWS storage, definitely it can scale limitlessly, right? If we talk about the security and the durability, right? So talking about the security, so there are the two things in terms of security, respect to if the data is being stored on AWS. The one is the data at rest and data in transit. So I mean, data at rest, if your data is residing on the AWS infrastructure, AWS server, definitely there is a the server side encryption are in place, right? And if it is a data in transit, then again it is encrypted. Your data is encrypted TLS 1.3 standard, right? Encryption protocol. And talking about the durability, right? So durability, AWS offers like 11.9 durability. And what does that mean, right? I would stress upon the durability and availability. So it provides 11.9 durability and 2.9 of availability, right? So differences between durability, availability. Durability as in your data, whatever the data is being hosted, it is there is a multiple backups are created and placed and stored the multiple locations of the availability zones, right? Your data is present, your data is redundant, so that it is available with the AWS infrastructure, right? And in talking about the availability of that data, that simply means it provides like 99.99% availability of the data. If you do the maths and understand in terms of mathematics, what does that mean? So that means if you are having like 10 million of object storage, right? 10 million objects are stored on the Amazon S3 bucket. So probably the chances are one object will be lost in 10,000 years, right? I mean, if you look at the timeline, so that tells in terms of availability and durability how it is so robust with the AWS infrastructure, right? Integration with the vast ecosystem of AWS compute, databases, analytic services, EC2, RDS, Lambda, etc. Okay, so idea is whenever you are hosting any data with the AWS, right? So there should be the ease for connecting with the compute and maybe for other application or other services, so that we can just leverage the analytics or any other like ETL or any other processing with that data, right? So be it EC2, RDS, Lambda, so there is the seamless integration is being provided with AWS storage, with all the AWS services, right? And so these were the functionality and the features of data. And if we talk about the pricing model with your data, then again this is the pay-as-you-go pricing. So, and with no upfront cost, right? So why this is a trade-off if you compare with your conventional way of storing data? What we used to do, we used to procure hardwares, right, in the databases, so that, and we used to store all those databases. So what used to happen that most of the time a lot of resources used to be idle, right? So they were over provisioned, so we already paid those amount procuring those servers, which we even did not use at all, right? So there's a lot of storage, lot of you can see the capex, the capital expenditure, that went waste, right? So if you take storage from any cloud, AWS cloud, so you can have the benefit, like whatever storage you are taking, you are paying only for that, not any extra penny to the other storage, right? So these are the benefits in terms of how you can leverage the advancement with the AWS services, as well as how smartly you can limit your pricing, right? So whatever you are using, you are paying for that only, right? So moving on our next slide, the core three AWS is storage pillars, right? So we also saw in our the previous slides, we mentioned about there are the three pillars, right? So if we just break it down, whatever any kind of storage requirement or any application where we need databases, right? So we can simply divide into the three parts, right? The first we are considering on a very left on a slide, you see the Amazon Simple Storage or S3, that's object storage, unstructured data media backups. All right. So this is AWS offering Amazon Simple Storage service. So this is an object storage service, and what's that mean? That means that's a flat file structure, right? In terms of like PDF, any Word document, any media files, any backup logs, you can store in Amazon Simple Storage service, right? And how it is different? So you can access your data via any URL or API, right, or HTTP request, right? You can access your data over the internet, which is being hosted with the Amazon S3 bucket, right? So I mean, we will also see in the further slide what are the differences, but by and large, and that's the modality of that Amazon S3 service, right? And one more thing that since you are accessing that your data in S3 over the internet, there is no operating system required, right? And if we talk about Amazon Elastic Block Storage, so this is a high performance volume for EC2. So as we see Elastic Block Storage, so it stores all your data in form of this unified blocks, right? So definitely, if we need any application where the latency is the key concern, and the way the application is designed, application is talking with the database with the help of operating system, or where the persistent data is required. So I mean, the go-to choice is definitely Elastic Block Storage. And again, it performs high performance volume for EC2. So we can choose the offering in terms of IOPS, right? IOPS and throughput it provides, right? So I mean, that option is also available with this EBS volume. And finally, just moving on to our next pillar, that is Amazon Elastic File System. So it's a shared hierarchical access for Linux workload, right? So so basically, this particular service, it supports NFS, like network storage, NFS, and network file storage, and SMB protocol. NFS for Linux workload, or SMB for the Windows workload, right? Idea here is your data is presented in the form of hierarchical system, maybe the directory, right? And where we can use this, we can use where the multiple servers like EC2 machines are to access data simultaneously. Then this service can be utilized, right? Definitely, we will see the use cases, all of these three offering going forward, right? So what are the key takeaways? Choosing the right service optimizes performance and cost. So whenever we are at the verge, we are to decide what type of storage we should take. So we should look at the pattern, the way the users / application need to access data, right? Now moving on to our next slide. So these are the key decision factors which can influence your, selecting your AWS choice, right? The first one is data type. Second, performance need, access protocol, scalability, and cost. All right. So the data type, first of all, we need to understand what data type we are managing with our, scope. It may be structured, it may be unstructured, or it may be a hybrid kind of data, right? So if it is structured, then we have to have the databases which are meant for storing the data in the well structured form, right? Like SQL databases, right? And if the databases are unstructured, then we have to have the databases which are created or for the purposely built for unstructured databases, right? So there are the option with the AWS, right? There's the option for like RDS, right? That's for structured databases, and the DynamoDB where you can store unstructured databases, right? And S3 again, you can use for unstructured databases. You can store images, videos, any files onto S3, right? And again, if you are dealing with the HPC kind of workload, which is a high performance computing, then you definitely look for how much input output per second is required, and what is the latency required for that critical application, right? If that is the case, then you can look at where AWS offering in terms of IOPS and the throughput, right? And one more thing, the third point, the access and the protocol. That is also very important, that how your users or the application is talking with that data, right? So if there's a requirement, they need HTTP API access, then S3 service is the choice, right? Or if you want any operating system which is being talking to the database and then presenting to the application, then definitely you should go for either EBS or EFS, right? And what is the difference between EBS and EFS? So EBS cannot mount one EBS volume cannot mount to multiple EC2, where EFS can definitely mount onto multiple EC2. So idea is the use case, if there is a requirement where the multiple users are accessing the same data, right, then it can be mounted onto multiple EC2 with service that elastic file storage, right? And the fourth one is scalability and the cost. So definitely we need to see that how much data need to be stored, and then there are the different offering, tier-based offering are there. Like S3, if you talk about, then we can just put your data in the cold storage, hot storage as per the requirement, right? Moving on over the next slide. So now we will look all these three services one by one, right? So as we discussed earlier as well, that the Amazon S3 service is the object storage standard service. So what are the things and what are the key features which are there with the S3? So it stores data as an object within buckets. So basically, this Amazon service is designed. I mean, definitely they are the servers behind this particular Amazon S3 bucket, but we call it as a bucket, right? Since we are putting that data, which is unstructured data or any sort of object, right? So when we put that into this database, we call it a bucket, right? And then we also saw that how this can be accessed via HTTPS and API globally available for the users, right? You would be provided one URL and you can hit that your data accessed, right? And massively scalable, incredibly durable 11 minutes. So we also discuss about how data is available, how your data is being redundant, and applications are in the multiple data centers of AWS at the same time, right? And it offers various storage classes like standard, infrequent access, glacier to optimize cost based on access frequency. All right, why and what trade-off we are getting, right? So if you just consider a scenario where you need to have your sort of logs or some data which you are not accessing it very frequent, but again you need that data to be presented in your control or presented on whether on premises or on a cloud for longer duration. Why? There's a compliance requirement, there's an audit requirement, right? So there are the requirement like you have to have that data for your maybe any crucial data in terms of like your employees or any sort of detail which is very crucial, and you need to have that data for a longer run. Let's take an example for that. So let's say we talk about any education board like CBSE, right? So if we talk about the CBSE, which headquarter is in Delhi, right? So there are multiple schools, right, which are affiliated with the CBSE board, right? And everyone who enrolls with the CBSE schools, right, they get a one unique ID, right? Your name gets registered, and then again, if you talk about your academics certificates in terms of your mark sheet or maybe your other certificates, all those are stored with the CBSE managed databases. But there has to, let's say you have your certificate handy and tomorrow it got you lost your certificate, then how would you uh, apply for that duplicate certificate, right? For that CBSE should have some arrangement in terms of where the student can apply for the duplicate service or duplicate that certificate. So it should have uh, arrangements where they are actually storing all those information data for, let's say, 10 years, 20 years, right? So if they are having all those data, right, in somewhere, so again that is going to cost them too much. So what is the best approach for that? So AWS provide the different access pattern as well as it will definitely optimize the cost, right? So they're the offering like S3 Glacier or maybe the deep archive, right? So where they can put all those data which is not frequently accessed, but it can be required as per the need, right? As I told you that example, someone lost its certificate, then the data has to be accessed, data has to be fetched, but it will take some time to be available, and definitely. So on the basis of that, the cost will reduce. Cost will, I mean, maybe 70-80% cost will go down if we compare with the standard and the Amazon Glacier or maybe the Deep Glacier or maybe the infrequent access. Idea is the data which you are accessing very frequently, it is going to cost you more as compared to the data which is being archived, right? If we are archiving that data, definitely that cost is going to drop down, right? So I mean that's a trade-off as per your requirement. But again, it is quite impressive and worthy service in terms of like compliance and where you need data for longer run, but the cost also has to be taken care, right? So definitely in AWS S3 service, you will get all those benefits in terms of your data, various storage tier, and you can have your data being stored there and with the minimum cost, right? All right, so let's see the use case, static website hosting, right? Again, if you have to host any website, and you need to have a server ideally, right? But AWS S3 service provide you the benefits, right? In terms of if you have to host a vanilla website, maybe HTML page, CSS, JavaScript, or any blog or landing page, right? If your requirement is this only, then AWS, you can host your application on Amazon Simple Storage Service as well, right? Host directly from the bucket for low cost and high availability, easy integration, Amazon CloudFront, contain global speed, no server to manage serverless hosting. So this is the use case where it is providing you the ease for hosting your website Also, you can integrate this with Amazon CDN, which is CloudFront, for the latency and for the global speed, and you need not to manage anything. So simple, you just host your website and do nothing, right? You do not need to worry about managing your infra server, anything. Why? Because AWS S3 is the limitless, it is scalable, highly redundant. We saw that 11 nines and double nines, right? So you need not to worry about anything. Simply put your application on S3 and just focus on your other business needs, right? And again, if you look at the slide, there is a link for the resource. If you need, then definitely we will be sharing all those resources with you, so that you can also see the AWS that page where you can get all those detailed information. All right. All right, so after S3, we will look at Amazon EBS. We also saw that how EBS can be leveraged for the high performance, the block storage for EC2. Provides persistent block storage volume that attached to a single Amazon EC2 instance, right? So as we also discussed this thing, that but one thing you need to stress upon that is written here, that is a single, right? So that simply means one EBS can be attached only a single Amazon EC2 instance, right? Not more than one. It's exactly like a raw hardware. All right. So basically, if you want to understand that how elastic block storage is being integrated with the server, so you can consider that one as a hard drive, which you usually attach to your laptop or maybe the server, right? It works like that only. And of course, and as I also mentioned, in terms of latency requirement and the application requirement, you will get the option for whether you want for general purpose or any high performance is required, right? IOPS. So you can take the other options as well for elastic block storage, right? Or EBS volume. And it is for performance sensitive transactional workload, since this device is directly attached to a server, and the operating system is there to fetch the content and present to the application server. So this is meant for where the persistent data is required, where the latency is the key concern, and if you want your transaction workload is being performed, then again the Amazon Elastic Block Storage is the go-to choice. Right, and looking at the use case database on like ABS and RDS, ideal for relational databases, MySQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle, right? And why EBS EC2 provide the consistent low latency, as you mentioned, IOPS required for transactional integrity. Alternatively, if we talk about the AWS managed database, which is RDS, relational database services, so under the hood, it also uses EBS volume, right? The only difference here is there is a lot of ops related work which are offloaded here for you to manage. You are not managing those databases, rather it is being managed by the AWS only, right? So, I mean, that's all are the trade-off in terms of like EBS volume, which is a persistent volume offering from the AWS. All right, so moving on the third offering, which is Elastic File System in detail. So we also discussed this in previous slide as well, that basically it's a simple, scalable, serverless Elastic file storage. It supports a standard file protocol, NFS and SMB, for where the concurrent users or concurrent EC2 instances can be connected, integrated with particular MO service, and it can be mounted onto multiple EC2 servers at the same time, right? And again, this is a elastic in nature, so definitely it can go and shrink back automatically as you add or remove files, right? So it works as per your need or as per your requirement. So if the data is being grown, data is growing, then again it will scale it automatically, right? Since we have mentioned EFS here, so definitely it is a Linux-based protocol, NFS, and definitely we have the service for the Windows workload as well. So we call it FSX, right? And then assembly protocol is supported with the FSX file system, right? And what are the use cases for that then? So definitely where there are multiple users or which are maybe they require one central location of data, or maybe if we are using any content management system, that CMS, WordPress running across several EC2 instances. All right. So let's say there is a one application, we are just taking example of CMS. So if we are hosting any CMS onto EC2 instances, and if we scale all this content management system, definitely that and front layer, right, it will scale and it will replicate or it will create the multiple EC2 instances just in case. But what about the data, right? So data cannot be replicated as the application replicates, right? Because the data persistency is the challenge there, right? So there has to have something where the data which also is being scaled in, but it is persistent, as well as the data is being provided from a one center places to all the instances whenever they are scaling, right? So one is too many. I mean, that's the concept. One is Elastic File System is integrated with the or mounted onto multiple EC2 instances, right? So multiple web servers can access the same file system for like media upload or asset, simplifies architecture compared to synchronizing block storage volume, easy to set up, manage within your AWS VDC. So all these are the ease which you will get when there's a requirement like multiple. We are just mounting the database onto multiple EC2 instances, right? Then definitely we can use an Elastic File System service by the AWS. Right. So far we have seen that how all these services are being divided as per the use case and their specifications, right? So just look at the comparison summary for like AWS storage option. So talking about the S3, so we can just host like a static website, and how that website can be accessed over the internet, HTTP protocol, or maybe the API, we can access AWS S3 storage, right? And if we require like high throughput, definitely we'll get that with the AWS S3 service. Databases, VMboot, AWS Elastic Block Storage. So this is kind of a hard drive which is directly integrated or directly connected with your databases with your VMs. So we can use this for the virtual machine boot volume and the volume mount to one EC2, as we saw, in the very high IOPS and low latency is a requirement. Then I mean that's the use case for Elastic Block Storage. And again, if we need to access data with the help of the NFS protocol, that is shared protocol, and with a scalable throughput, Elastic File System is the choice. Right, so these are this comparison summary of all the services like database services which we just seen. Or we can go with a hybrid approach as well, or maybe a single application uses multiple storage types for like different needs. Like a SaaS application might use S3 for user upload profile pictures, RDS for the core transactional databases, EFS for internal. All right. So this is the ideal case, right? It doesn't happen that only we are using only Amazon S3 or only EBS, right? Or only EFS. So the idea is to if we consider any use case, then definitely the holistic approach is to have where the users are accessing any static asset with the help of S3, and transactional data is there, so that is being populated in the RDS databases. And if the internal logging configuration file sharing is required across multiple compute nodes, then definitely EFS we have to have in the architecture, right? I mean, this hybrid approach is something which is pretty much common, and with any architecture or any kind of workload, right, or any business challenges, right? So all these tools are being provided by the AWS with the seamless integration with the other services as well, right? So far we have almost covered like everything about that, what approach we can consider just. And on our next slide, we will see the key takeaways, right? All right. So first of all, if you need to find out like which databases or is required, right, or which AWS database service you would need, then you need to first figure out the pattern, performance, durability, and how your users or application want to access that data, right? And then again, if you want to use if there is any transactional data which required the performance as well as the latency related issues, then definitely EC2 you can use for storing those databases as well as, yeah, I mean, as your root volume. And as we saw that S3, the block storage can be scaled massively, and we can just access all the static content with the help of S3. Then definitely we go forward for the S3 service. And if the shared file access is required in distributed environment, then EFS is the choice. So all those key takeaways for the today's webinar, I would say that we need to understand these all the things, and then we should, ideally choose that which service we need to have. But before that, we need to understand the requirement in terms of like application requirement and the user requirement. All right. Now, moving on to our almost last slide of our maybe presentation. So that's a call to action. So here is a QR given. You can definitely scan this QR and it will land you on the page of AWS Storage White Paper, where you will see all the storage services. And you can just go through and just read that document, go through it, and just you can just have you can just strengthen your understanding, and then come back with your any concern or questionnaire or maybe any support if required to cloud.in, right? And then again we will schedule a one-to-one review in terms of architecture or application need, right? And definitely we can explore official AWS document, AWS storage guides, and then you can follow cloud.in on it or and AWS on X and the LinkedIn, right? So I would request everyone, whosoever are there, listening to this webinar, they can just scan that QR and then just see that how it is providing the storage white paper. All the services are there. You can just have a go through on that, right? And so again, that's a Q&A session. So, and again, I would request everyone to scan this QR and just give your feedback so that we can improve our content, or maybe if your suggestion, if there is a requirement for like any anything to upgrade or modernization, then definitely we'll come up with the suggestion, and it will help us to create our content better and just strengthen your knowledge in a better way, right? So if we have like any question, then please you can ask your all doubts. I'm here to answer all your queries and questions one by one. All right, I guess there is a no question for now. All right. Anyways, so you can, if there are no question, you can scan this QR and just submit your feedback, and you can anyways come up to the cloud.in. So we can get in touch with our mail ID, which is mentioned in here, sales@cloud.in. If you have like any use case or any kind of a workload in which you want to discuss or you want our assistance, since we are the AWS Advanced Consulting Partner, so we provide end-to-end support in terms of managing your workload, right? We are having our expertise in terms of migrating website hosting, AI, ML workload, chatbots, and all, right? So, and we also saw that how which industry verticals we are providing our expertise, right? So any kind of workload, definitely you can get in touch with the sales team with this email ID.